And welcome once again to Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. With me, Juan Zarate, our national security analyst. Juan, good to see you.
Great to see you, Bob.
We talked about the president's speech and the way he's changing his approach to counterterrorism. Specifically, though, what does he want to do with the use of drones?
Well, the president is trying to respond to criticism that his administration has used drones and targeted strikes more aggressively than the Bush administration and in an unconstrained way. And so in this speech, the president was trying to do a couple things in response to that criticism. First, to reaffirm the legality, the morality, the justification for the use of these types of attacks and tactics, the targeted killings. But importantly, he also is talking about the constraint in the use of that power. And so he talked about and issued guidance internally within the government constraining the times and the ability to use this power only in cases where there's a significant, direct, and imminent threat to the U.S. And, by the way, Bob, to deal with the civilian casualty question, only in cases where it's near certain that civilian casualties won't occur.
Let me ask you about that standard. Okay, say you're the counterterrorism advisor, and you maybe have a shot at a big operative here, and the president says, can you assure me to a near certainty that there'll be no civilian casualties? How do you make that case?
Well, it's a hugely problematic set of standards, and I think where you're going to see problems is how these words actually get executed in practice. So you're absolutely right. The question is going to be, what evidence and information do you have that this is significant, direct, and imminent in the threat side? And then the question of, okay, can you take the shot in a way that isn't going to cause civilian casualties? And really, you're going to have a lot of tension in the counterterrorism community because there are going to be times and situations where you know there are al-Qaeda operatives, you know they're plotting, you know it's serious, but you may not have the specificity to meet these standards. And so the question is, do you take the strike or not? And if you don't, and something comes of it, somebody gets on a plane and explodes something over New York, or a plotter makes his way to Denver or Los Angeles and does something problematic, then you're going to have some answers. You have to answer to the Congress, to the American people, and that's problematic.
As a practical matter, let's say a senior leader emerges. You have them in your sights. There's not a great deal of time to deliberate. You don't get opportunities like that.
No, but I think one thing to keep in mind, especially when you think about how the targets are put together, and there's been more public discussion, and the president declassified information about the strike on al-Awlaki, for example, the Yemeni American cleric. These portfolios of information get built over time, and so it's not as if you suddenly get that information and then you have to act on it at that moment. Usually there's a preparation of information that puts you in a position to be able to take a shot or to be able to take somebody out or to try to capture them. And so I think the question is, what is going to be sufficient information or evidence to allow the president or his advisors or the Secretary of Defense or the CIA director to make that call, to say, we have enough under these more constrained standards to take this person out. And that really is going to be the trick here. And it's also going to be a question for our allies as to how they interact with us.
I guess the proof ultimately will be in what takes place.
That's right. And I think the challenge is going to be the counterterrorism officials will feel constrained by this language. And the question is, will people take the political risk and the counterterrorism risk in not taking shots to disrupt and dismantle plots, even if they don't have sufficient evidence to meet these standards?
Very interesting. Well,
Very
we'll
cool.
go at that again another time. Juan, thanks very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks to you for watching Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. We'll see you next time.